We've never done this before. We're actually live on YouTube. I'm on vacation in Vancouver. We just came back from Vancouver Island. I have to visit my first batch of kids. Um, there's a few. I have four children. Anyway, I was in Vancouver Island in Nanaimo to visit my my two kids, Mark and Candace. And here we are in West Vancouver. It's a gorgeous location. I mean, this is freaking crazy. I lived here from 1989 to uh, nine, 1989 to 2002. But check this out. I mean, this is freaking crazy. This is English Bay. I don't know if I can see it good. And that's the university. If you see the buildings, can you see the buildings out there just past the ships? Just near the where the peninsula kind of juts out? That's the University of British Columbia. Anyway, that's where that is. I hope I'm streaming. I hope this is working. I'm not sure. I think it's working. Oh, there he goes. Uh, Eddie, hi from New Orleans. Greetings from Germany. Ah, nice to talk to you. I've never done this before, and it's so cool that, as you've noticed, that a lot of us are trying to, we're trying to answer a lot of your your messages whenever you see our videos. Uh, some people who do this sort of thing have disconnected their comments on their video. Hello from Boston. Hi, Alex. Alex, such a big supporter. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Indiana, Brad. Hi. I really love doing this channel an awful lot because I've gotten to know a lot of you personally, which is really a cool thing. I think I have more friends now via this channel. Hi, Alex. Than I have in real life. I'm kind of a private guy and I kind of work out of my basement and I do a show here I do in Vancouver. I'll try to live stream. I'm not sure if they'll let me. Live stream from the radio station where I work. Um, is it Glita Morales? Hi. Eddie, thank you. Oh, like the bloopers? Yeah, we've got a lot more bloopers, man. You wouldn't believe. Sorry, I dropped my glasses. Oh, we have a lot of bloopers tapes, and this is just something that Shannon. Sorry, I'm trying to make this work here. I'm really bad with the camera. Uh, Epic travels, sir. Almanac. Hello. I want to introduce something here. If any of you are thinking of starting, even if you want to be my competition, that's okay. I don't care. We have our. If any of you are interested in starting a channel where you want to do music news or you need some help, I'm more than willing to help you out. If you want to be a guest on this channel, if you want to come on and chat with us, and your intent is to, to get your name out there, to create your own YouTube channel, that would be great. If I can help you and you want to come on and say, and I'll give you a little bump. I mean, we don't, for YouTube, 35,000 subscribers is not that much. It's not a big deal. For me and my wife and my son Chase, they all help me with this. It's a lot for us. So we appreciate that. If anybody wants to come on and be a guest and sort of get their name out there. Hi, Jack. Greetings from San Diego, California. Never made it to San Diego. I've gotten as far down as, oh God, I don't know. There's a town on top of San Diego. I never got a chance to go there. I used to travel by myself a lot before I met Shannon, who's in the house doing our laundry. We're at her sister's house right now. This is where she lives. Every time I come to the Lower Mainland, because I'm Canadian, a lot of you might not know. The weird thing about Rock History Music, it's kind of like Rock History Book, which was a online internet station, and it was also a very highly, what did really well. Another one, Christopher, hi. Greetings from San Antonio, Texas. Never been to Texas. Been down there an awful lot, but never made it to Texas. Interestingly, the car before us on the ferry on the way out here, we were talking politics. It was so strange. He was from Texas. But anyway, I lost my train of thought. I was going to say something. It was going to change your life, but it's gone now into the ether. Anyway, let me show you the view again. We just got off the ferry from Vancouver Island. And this is what I was going to say. Every time we come here, I mean, it's freaking crazy. Let me flip this again. I don't want to lose my glasses. Let me flip. Can you see the ship out there? Can you see there's also a cargo ship out there. In English Bay, there's usually a lot of cargo ships out here. A lot of you are probably, hi, Linda. She says, hello, everyone. Hope you're on vacation. Is going great, John. I need my reading glasses. I can't see that well. But thanks, John. A lot of people want to move here, but they can't afford it. It's very, very expensive. It's incredibly, we could not afford to move back. It's that expensive. But anyway, what I was trying to say about being a Canadian, you know that 90% of the people who go onto our channel are American. So I love Americans. Mind you, I've done so much traveling in America, it seems fitting. When we did the rock history book, not music, the rock history book website. Hi, Justin. Eddie, hi. When we did that website, we realized then that 90% of everyone who was reading my scripts, and we had some volunteers, were Americans. And we thought, well, I'm not going to argue with that. Of course, you know, the majority of, I think, the bulk rock lovers of what I'm writing, which was mostly American rock and roll and some English, went into that site. Interestingly, when I started the YouTube channel, the majority of the watchers were Americans, but I wasn't surprised by that because of the content that I write about. Most of the content is about American rock and roll, which is, you know, where I got my juice from. But I'd like to know, please in the comments, I'd like to know if any of you, what would you like us to report on? Are there interviews you'd like? Hi, Brad. Was the radio myself for 20 years. Hey, Brad. It's a business. It's a business that eats up a lot of people. Radio. It's a tough business to be in. You have to make some decisions sometimes, and to get ahead in radio, a lot of people have to move. You kind of have to move all over the place, and I wasn't willing to do that. So that's one of the reasons I think that I was an underachiever in radio, even though I'm in a major market here in Vancouver and I'm on every single night. But at the same time, I didn't want to move. We moved to Calgary for autism. I think a lot of you know that. We decided to, my wife came up to me, Shannon, you saw her on the bloopers reel. I love your interviews, Randy Meisner. Thanks, Linda. Appreciate it. A lot of you know that we moved to Calgary because we had an autistic daughter. She's 21 now, but she really needed a lot of help. Hi, Mike. Wisconsin. Thanks a lot. Hi, Barb from Vermont. Appreciate that. But it's really nice to do the live streaming thing. I should do more of this stuff. I'm not sure if the comments are coming up. My MacBook is in Kelowna right now, which is in the interior of British Columbia where Shannon's parents live. And we decided not to bring it with us. You know how it is when you're traveling with an expensive laptop? You're guarding it all the time, and LUV? Love? Just checking. Again, I don't read reading glasses an awful lot, but in this case, I can't see very well. TJ Caddy, Speedway, Indiana here. Love your channel. Thank you. Appreciate it. My Smitty from South Carolina. Thank you. Appreciate it. I appreciate. Oh, we're getting a lot of them now. Etha, the Piano Man. ETHE Piano Man. So we've got not a lot of interviews in the can right now, specifically because the interviews are not doing as well as the regular music news videos. And I mean, as much as I don't need this channel to live because I have jobs and I do, like I have my radio job and stuff like that. My wife has an incredibly good job. My wife makes more money than me. People meet my wife and they always go, oh, he must make a lot of money. And it's not true because she makes way more money than me. But even that, I still want to make a living doing the YouTube channel. And it's doing well, but the interviews are not serving us as well as I thought. And I can understand that because, having me say something that's happening in rock and roll in a succinct way, hopefully I do that, in 2-3 minutes is a lot easier than listening to sometimes a rock and roller say what he has to say. Hold on. LUV. Mifro. Love Mifro? Hi. So anyway, sometimes having a rock and roller say something in 5 minutes is not as quick because we're creatures of, bang, bang, bang here in this world, as me saying it in 2 minutes. And new music news is more exciting than someone talking about what happened in 1974. I understand that. We're going to continue doing interviews, but we're going to be more discerning with doing the interviews. We're just going to be more careful because I hear you. You go on our channel, certain interviews work, certain interviews don't work. Eddie Schneider, hi. And he says his wife makes more money too. No, it's just that Shannon is almost 11 years younger than I am. And when Shanny and I met, we kind of looked the same age, but I'm going to be 60 in February, and she's still 58, or 48 rather. Ooh, I hope she didn't hear that. Hi, Barbara. Beautiful scenery. My dad was from Canada. Oh, cool. Let me show you again. We should do this more often. I don't do this enough. Well, I've never done it before. Duh. So this is up fairly high. And as I mentioned earlier, for anyone who's tuning in now, that's the University of British Columbia. Straight ahead, the buildings. I don't know if you can make it out. Sorry, I'm being... And the freighter, that's English Bay. And I'll try to do more live streaming as I'm here. We're leaving tomorrow night for the Peach Fest. And I don't know if any of you know Penticton in the interior of British Columbia. It's kind of a deserty country. It's very touristy, wine country. I'll try to do some videos from there and show you. But it's a gorgeous area. So we're going there for Peach Fest. There's a Pat Benatar cover band that's going to be there. It's free. And there's a Heart cover band. The Heart one I'm really interested in. As much as I love Pat Benatar, I was a huge Heart fan. So we're going to try to film some of that. I'm not sure if copyright in YouTube, it's difficult. That's why we don't have, we got another one. Oh, it's Love again. Hi. April Wine interview, TJ Caddy. I have an April Wine interview. How do I put this? I interviewed Miles Goodwin. He's a little grumpy. The lead singer, he was grumpy, but I always say this to balance it out. Miles was going through his drinking stage when I interviewed Miles. They were staying in a hotel room. There was Miles Goodwin, Brian Greenway. No, Steve Lang wasn't with them. Who else was there? Jerry Mercer, their original big drummer, the big bald guy who drums so well. And Jim Clench, who's dead now. So one of the time they came down and I'd interview April Wine. And Miles Goodwin, the main guy who wrote most of the stuff, was just grumpy as hell. Halfway through the interview, he said, "Listen, I don't want to really do this right now, but you seem to know a lot about our music, so let's get it done, no problem." And I went, well, I appreciated his candor. You know, he was being honest with me, and I've interviewed people who didn't want to do interviews, and they didn't say that. I mean, I was taken aback by that because I'm such a huge April Wine fan. They're my favorite Canadian band of all time, and I thought, there's my hero right there, kind of being a dork to me, but he really wasn't being a dork. Greg E. Mike Reno interview. I've got Mike Reno on this channel. Look up my name, John Beaudin, and Mike Reno, and you'll see, I think, 2 parts of that interview. But yes, I'll dig back into that. I don't think Mike would say anything different than he already told me. Have you ever interviewed David Lee Roth, Booster G? No, but when I interviewed Bruce Hornsby, I was really nervous when I interviewed Bruce Hornsby. I think I might have said this in the Hornsby clip, but I'll say it again. When I interviewed Bruce Hornsby, I said, I'm really, really nervous. He says, don't get nervous. It's posers like frickin', that's not the word he used, David Lee Roth who will drive you crazy or something. Because I told him I had a friend who just interviewed David Lee Roth. And David, as you can imagine, kind of a Robin Williams thing, but more malicious with David. David Lee Roth took over the interview live on TV. It was a friend of mine who works in LA. And he was embarrassed by it as a seasoned broadcaster that David Lee Roth came in and took the interview away from him, just kind of took over the floor. And I told that to Bruce Hornsby, and he says, he called him a blankety blank poser. So that was kind of cool. After that, you know how it is? It's that thing, you know, when you're in element. Hold on. Hey, Jason. Linda Ronstadt. Jason just came in. Jason, you and I are going to work together. I know that. No, I haven't interviewed Linda Ronstadt, though I have an interview with her that I inherited, but I get a feeling I don't completely own it. Sometimes announcers will give me interviews, but it's an interview they've got from someone else. I saw that, Jason. C. Jeff, have you ever interviewed Steve Winwood? No. And he's not been on my radar. Though, you know, I might be able to get him. I don't know. I'd never thought of it. Yeah, that's a good one, Steve Winwood. Linda Ronstadt, I don't know if she'll do an interview. She might do one to promote the documentary. Possibility. I don't know, because it's not really hers. Here's the thing about interviews: unless they're selling something, um, they won't do it. They have to be selling something. And now and then I'll run into, and I'm not going to name names, but I'll run into artists who might feel like their reputation or their career, their, what's the word I'm looking for? Their I can't think of the word. Someone else. Greg E. I seen a recent Firefall interview. Do you have some with Rick Roberts? Go on to the Aircom Radio Network YouTube channel, and I have a fairly long interview with Rick Roberts on there. I know I'm interviewing Larry Burnett right now. I didn't approach Rick Roberts. Rick Roberts and Larry Burnett were the two main singer-songwriters in Firefall. And when they left, it really became sort of a different band. Not quite a cover band, but like Jock Bartley's still with them. David Muse is still with them. And Steve Andes, I think that's how you say his name, who was with Heart after that. He's still with them. But the two main guys are not there. So go into, look up Aircom Radio Network, Rick Roberts, and you will find an interview with Rick Roberts. It's fairly long. Any Rush news? No. TJ Caddy? No. Not really. That's kind of, okay, I'm going to say it again. That dog won't hunt. Greg E., thanks. Thank you. Not a lot of Rush news. That's kind of done now. I would like to interview Geddy Lee. I've not gone out of my way to do that. It's, this channel is difficult because I keep going. I've got that Andrew Gold interview that I want to put up, and the noise quality is so bad, and so is the Dan Peek thing, and we're trying to fix it still, and sorry we haven't put it up. And those are not rock artists. But a lot of you have asked for those artists going, oh, bring them on. They're both deceased. They both died. I talked to them within, I think, 6 months of each other. I'm guessing. Okay, I'm not good at remembering the stuff. And some of those interviews have not done well, where it's kind of like, let's say, the middle of the road kind of pop-ish people. So I'm being very careful now who I put on this channel because of that reason. And by the way, someone put on my channel last week, why do you dye your hair? I dye this. I don't know why people they talk about this stuff. I don't dye my hair. I got gray hair. I mean, of all things. And I see a lot of YouTubers, their subscribers will say, why do you do this? Why? I don't dye my hair. I mean, if you don't believe me, that's okay. But I don't dye the top of my head. Look, I'm gray. Look, I'm gray. But I do dye this, of course, because it keeps changing, right? Tom Johnston, Pat Simmons. Yes. I didn't see who that was. It disappeared too fast. I have them. Their management company of the Doobie Brothers told me once the new Doobie Brothers album is released, I'll get both. I've been promised a lot of things. Most of the time, at least half of what you're promised you don't get, even from the Publicist record company, because something changes. People bigger than you ask for the interview and you don't get it. TJ Caddy, Eric Johnson, no, never have. But, okay, I've got another one. Max, I joined from Sulphur Springs, Texas. Looks like a vacation. Yeah, it is. Very nice. Billy Reed, can you put it up again? I lost it, and I don't know how to get it again. Let's go to the view again. There you go. I'm back. Oh yeah, Toto. We got Toto on this channel. John, we've got Toto. There's a lot of Toto on this channel. There's Steve Lukather. There's Steve Picaro. And I'm gonna go after David Page. I'm not sure if we can get him. Talk slower. Now that's about my tone. I can't really talk. How you doing? What's going on? I used to host a new age show from 86 to 89, where I kind of lost track of a lot of more of the peripheral stuff that I would have liked. And I used to talk really slow on that channel. It was really, look at the view. Let's see it again. Whoever just posted something, I didn't see it because I'm showing you English Bay. Well, it's not quite English Bay, but Vancouver, beautiful. Man, I wish I could afford to live here again. I just, kidding. Oh, you were kidding. Okay, yeah, I hear you. Sorry, I got to put my hand someplace where I don't cover the camera. Anyway, I just wanted to check in. not enough back and forth with this channel, and I've not really done that. And I noticed something kind of weird, and let me just say this now. When I released the bloopers tape, and this is important for me to say this to you, when I released the bloopers tape, a lot of people said, well, it's nice to see that side of your personality. And my wife came up to me, Shannon, who introduced the tape. I mean, she's not a broadcaster. She was very nervous doing that. And she did it with my son. I'm more of a, you should do this more. Thank you, TJ. I'm going to do it more, I promise. I want to do it in different locations. And John says, thanks for taking the time. Aw, thank you, man. I've told this story before. I was backstage with Tony Bennett. He's a rock star, I know that. Backstage came up to me, and Shannon, and halfway through the show, he says, was it okay? Could you hear everything? Was everything okay? Was it too loud? We're going, you're freaking Tony Bennett. What are you asking us for? But there's something about older stars that are like that. I got that from Steve Hackett, formerly of Genesis. I got it from quite a few people who are just really kind of humble. Even Jonathan Cain. You know, people say shit about Jonathan. Jonathan was really nice to me. You know, Neil Sean seems to be a little out there, but I've asked Neil Sean for an interview so many times now I don't even want to try anymore. I'm going, Jesus, it's just a freaking interview. And we're certainly big enough to get these guys now. You know what I mean? And you know, and I have the luxury of at least being a broadcaster where I don't say, I'm not just a schmo who has 3 followers. A lot of these people don't care, but sometimes some bands frustrate me. But let me just say, the bloopers tape, going back to that, I'm rambling, I'm sorry. The bloopers tape, my wife said, you know, okay, enjoy what you're doing. Visit all over the live talk like this where bands are playing. Oh yeah, that'd be a good idea, going to where bands are playing and doing the sound check interviews. By the way, Calgary doesn't get the bands, as you can imagine, that Vancouver does. One of the reasons I'd like to move back here is I'd be more plugged in. It is, you really got, if you're going to do an interview with a band, you've got to make sure they're right in your wheelhouse, because first of all, you got to get your equipment, you got to go out there, you got to go to them. And it takes, I've done this, been in radio a lot of years, as you know, where you've got to make sure you're going to get hits. When I did Bernie Ledden, I knew that would be very successful. When I did Bill Bruford, I knew right away. Randy Meisner, I did that way before YouTube. But when I put it on YouTube, I knew that at least one of those videos would get 250,000 views, and it has. So before you get all your equipment out and do something like that, even though it's more interesting, see, I have the luxury of having a green screen where what's behind me changes all the time. So yes, I'd like to go out and do that. Getting back to the point for the bloopers tape, I realize that when I present myself on my channel, that's radio guy. You know, that's more or less me being a little bit more authoritative and being the radio guy. That's just a side of my personality that I've used on the radio for 35 years. It's still me, but some of you have said, oh my God, I didn't know that side of you. And it makes me think, and I'm going, of course they don't, because I'm more or less a big goof around the people I love. John says, I was wondering if you know, I can't read that, it's too small. I don't think so. I don't know that name. Radio Gaga. Okay. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but anyway. And another thing I want to say is, you know, I get one bad comment out of 100. I'm lucky. I'm not like that other guy that dishes people all the time and has disconnected his comments because he throws crap at bands, but he can't take it back. We won't do that. Hey, we'll if someone says something really derogatory or racist on our channel, you're gone. We'll bump you out. Aldo Nova, I tried. He wasn't biting. I tried with Aldo Nova. I contacted him. He got back to me. He said, what's your channel? I sent him a link to our channel, and he didn't get back to me. Have you ever met Freddie Mercury? No. I quit the other guy. You are actually, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm sure he's a nice guy, the guy with the dark glasses. I'm sure he's probably the nicest guy in the world, but he's constantly looking for dirt that will get hits. And you can't lose your soul doing that. You can't be a jerk. And not only that, it's almost like a guy who's living in a fortress and opens his window and says, fuck you guy, blah, and throws shit at people and then closes his doors again so no one can have a rebuttal on what he's saying. You can't do that. You know what I mean? And he's stolen stuff from my channel and said, I saw it on the internet. And I'm going, you saw it? Give me a freaking plug for the love of God. You know how long it took to get that interview together? Have you ever interviewed Bryan Ferry? No. Good suggestion. Whoa, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I dropped my phone. Bryan Ferry. Yeah, that'd be a good one. I loved Roxy Music an awful lot. That Avalon album to this day. And I know I'm a fair weather Roxy Music fan. It's kind of like when you're a Led Zeppelin fan, you say, I love that Zeppelin 2 and 4, but you don't know anything deeper. I don't know a lot about them. I've never met Johnny Cash, no. TJ Caddy, Neil Peart. I never met him, but if you look up Chase, just look up Chase, Tom Sawyer, Chase Edwards Bowden, Tom Sawyer. You'll see Chase, my son, doing Tom Sawyer, pretty good, when he was 9 years old. And when Chase did that, he won, got in the top 10 of a national competition with a music store here in Canada called Long and McQuaid. And he beat out a certain 18-year-old. We were at a drumming competition, and Chase at that point wasn't allowed to perform. And love Roxy Music and Bryan Ferry's solo stuff as well. Yeah, I do. Kiss and Tell, I love Kiss and Tell. But Chase was at this competition, and the guy from the drumming company came up to Chase. He recognized him. He says, are you the Chase kid? And Chase said, yes. Even he was only 10 at the time, but he did the drumming thing at 9. And the guy came up to me, he says, you know what? I know one of the kids that you beat in this drumming competition in the country. And we went, what? And he said, there's a kid in Toronto who's 18 years old, who's been drumming for 10 years, and here you've been drumming for 3 years or whatever, 3 years, and you beat him in this drum competition. He didn't get in the top 10. It was from age 5 to 18. Chase Drums, subscribe. Oh, thank you. He doesn't, by the way, Chase didn't want to be on YouTube anymore. I hear you got competition from, oh, I don't know. I don't know why he put that there. Some people, you know. Anyway, so the guy from the drumming company came up to Chase and said, you know, the best thing that could have happened to the 18-year-old, I know his father in Ontario was being beaten by you because it was humbling. You know how it is if you're embarrassed by something and something happens to you and you're embarrassed by it. It's such a humbling experience that you're going to get yourself to get to know that stuff. I've been embarrassed so many times by not doing my research through the years that it's made me become a research pig. But anyway, so my son got in the top 10 in this competition across the country when he was 9 years old. And a year later, when he was 10, he ran into this guy and he told him that. And that was a nice thing for Chase. Bruce Hornsby, I don't know what he's talking about. My bad. Oh, I misunderstand. I don't know Red Green, by the way. Red Green's Canadian. I understand that, but I never watched that show. I never got the humor. How long do you think the classic rock radio format will last? Well, rock radio is now 80s, right? I have an interview with a guy named Jeff Woods. It doesn't matter if he's Canadian because he's plugged right in. He's interviewed way bigger people than me. I've got to clip it. I'm almost finished clipping it. And Jeff Woods is the guy. I'm not the guy in this country for classic rock. He's the guy. And I interview him and he gives a lot of insight about classic rock. And he does his own show. Just look up Jeff Woods, spelled just the way it sounds. And you're going to get a guy. He's got a great podcast. Check that out. I don't know how long it's going to last. It's evolving all the time. I work at an AC station now. My all-time fave music ever interviewed John Miles. When I heard music, I remember being, and if anyone doesn't know this, by John Miles, and of course he played with the Alan Parsons Project quite a few times. Big Saga fan. Have you interviewed Michael Sadler? No, I haven't. No. I was not a big fan of that band, but I interview a lot of people where I'm not a big fan of them. Sorry, I'm moving so much. Glass Tiger. Yes, I interviewed Glass Tiger when I was in Toronto trying to sell a show called the Cross Canada Report. It was a syndicated show. And I got the interview because we were on 36 stations across the country, except Toronto. Because back then, there's no way any broadcaster in Toronto would have had me on the radio. I just wasn't, even though we were in 36 markets. Every major and mid-market station in the country we were on. But I was foolish enough, my ego would not allow me to hire a better broadcaster to host the show. So I went in and I interviewed Glass Tiger. I remember Alan Frew had the greenest eyes I've ever seen. They were doing a photo shoot and I was so incredibly nervous and I'd never done an on-location interview before and I'm afraid to listen to it. I'm afraid to listen to it. It's like my first air check. I go back and I say, hey guys, how's it going? Good stuff, John. Stephen Martin, I like the comments about the research. Yeah, well, research is everything in this country. And you know, you guys know this. You guys know this. There's no way and if anybody says they do, they're lying. No one goes and does a video without doing research. I double check. If I think, oh, Elton John, yeah, 21 at 33, was that 1980? And I double check it. Because my memory is a little wanky. And I realized too, when I interviewed, it was a Phil Collins thing a few years ago. There was a guy who was running a Genesis archives website or something. And I had put out I'd quoted Phil Collins, never talked to him. I talked to Daryl Sturmer a lot, his guitarist. And Phil got the dates wrong. Because not only do we screw up, but the artists will remember things and they'll get it wrong, of course. They're not, and hockey players do this all the time, or football players when they're talking about a certain play that they did in 1979 and it's really 1977. They forgot. Well, they got hit in the head a few times, but I don't know what my excuse is. Too much scotch, I think. But anyway, this guy I tried to explain to him that I'm quoting Phil Collins and maybe he got the date wrong, and he was just being a dick. Like, I remember he did a rebuttal with me, and he didn't get it. I'm going, hey man, sometimes you make a mistake. I'm just quoting Phil. I should have checked on it. And he got back to me, and I checked his channel, and all his channel was stolen TV bits of Genesis. I'm going, okay, that's nice. But don't be a dick about it. We're going to get things wrong sometimes. But you guys all know. I mean, I double check everything. You have to be a research pig. I can't rely on my memory. Because if I rely on my memory, I'd be making like a lot more mistakes on this channel. A lot more. And anyone who says they don't check before they go on there, they're lying. Because there's only so much room in the noggin. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I got to roll. I press that button. This is an iPhone, and you know the Siri button that keeps coming up. Anyway, this is some of the houses around here. Yeah, and this is this house. It's kind of like a vacation house. See, it's kind of a vacation sort of cabiny house. Most of the houses down here you can't really see them, are like Greg E. Bye bless. Yeah, are worth like $3 to $8 million. I'm serious, man. It's like houses I can't afford at all. And my brother-in-law, he drives a limo. Can you see it? That's what he does for a living. He's a limo driver, and he has a lot of business in Vancouver and West Vancouver. I might do this again a little later on, but anyway, the motto of this is just play fair, man. You know, if you're going to do this kind of YouTube thing, you got to kind of play fair, and you can't just throw stones at people all the time and attack people. And you know, I could attack a lot of people and get hits. Any bands playing up there on your vacation? I haven't checked. The radio station I work for could probably get me tickets, but we're leaving tomorrow night, and I don't know. I almost have to switch gear to do that. Looks in the studio in Morin Heights. Listen, the whole the studio thing, by the way, and oh God, should I open this can of worms? I'm not sure how legit the Le Studio rebuilding thing is. It might be really legit. I'm going to be open-minded here. But at the rate they're going, they're going to be finished rebuilding that studio in the year 3030. Some people have said that's just an opportunity to sell T-shirts. I don't know if it is. But I'm just saying there's not a lot of progress happening at rebuilding Le Studio in Morin Heights. By the way, Brush recorded their April Wine. I mean, the list is long and long. So I'm not sure what's going on there. They're kind of polluting any place that will have them, including my YouTube channel, to what radio station are you on? 103.5 QMFM in Vancouver. You'll see if you look up my name in QMFM Vancouver. I come up there. I look like a curmudgeon. I'm the oldest guy there. I'm the longest lasting broadcaster in the history of that radio station. I've been on there since 1990 to present. Happy Wednesday. Oh, thank you. I can't. Strat 281. Sorry, the lettering on this is so small. But anyway, yeah, I do an AC station. Believe it or not, I do a show called Lovesongs. But I love doing it because it's so much fun and it introduces me to a lot of new music that otherwise I might not listen to. And I like a lot of the music that we play. No announcer likes everything that you play, planes in the sky. But that's the station I work at. It's the number one station, by the way, in Vancouver. I'm very proud of that. And I've been there since, like I said, 1990. It used to be owned by the Chum family, which is one of the biggest, most prestigious, most well-loved radio companies in this country. They were bought by CTV, and then they were bought by, pardon my English. They were bought by CTV, and now they're owned by Bell. That's it. I should know that. Oh my God. Anyway, that's where I work. Getting back to the thing, the original point of this, which was, to play fair. I see a lot of YouTubers just throwing stones. TJ, you listen to any jazz? Oh, I used to program a jazz station in Calgary, The Breeze. Do you know Rammstein? Oh yeah. Yeah, of course I do. The song called Stripped I like. It's got a dark, ominous, sensual, I love that song. I love their take on that song. Anyway, I've never tried to interview Rammstein. I try to stay away from the heavier stuff, and they're quite heavy. There's something about that band I really like. And I've always gotten along with Germans really well anyway. I mean, Germans and anyone from England, Americans I always gotten along with. Most of my close friends are Americans. And for whatever reason, like I said, that's why the channel seems to do really well. And as a broadcaster, a lot of people have asked me if I'm American. Because remember, I say Canada like an American. Americans say Canada. And my wife always laughs at me because I have a channel called Rock History Canada. And I'm always trying to say Canada. But I've said Canada for so long, and I say it like an American. I know, before anyone gets up on me, I know not all Americans do that. But anyway, I got to roll. I don't even know how to, this is how bad it is. I don't even know how to shut this thing off. Let's see. We got buttons. We're going back to the original scene. There you go. It's been nice. Thank you for Steve Perry news. No. I read the thing about Howard Stern today. I read that. Thanks for the chat, Linda. Thank you. I will. I read the thing about Howard Stern today, and I try not. Strat 281. Thank you. I read the thing about Howard Stern and the quote for Howard Stern. This is bad lighting. I look like I'm 100 years old. And I didn't want to touch that. I'm going, Howard did not like the album. And Steve Perry, by far, it's probably his worst album. I understand his new album was. But I still liked it. Did I love it? No. And I think a lot of true blue Steve Perry, a lot of fun. Thanks for the chat. Stephen Martin, thank you. Billy Cooper, BCU number 6. I'm not sure what that means. Howard Stern didn't like the album. It's what Steve Perry sounds like now. Could the songs have been catchier? I really think so. You don't look a day over 59. Yeah, that's true. Eh? Good one. I like that. Sometimes when people take a jab at me and it's funny, that's fine. I can make fun of myself. My face is starting to get saggy, and it just comes with the age. But when people are overly mean, I don't know why. Come on, man. Life's too stressful as it is. That's the way it goes. But anyway, thanks for listening. I've never done this before, and you know what? It makes me feel so good to do this, and I appreciate that. The thing about being a radio announcer and you're in a room by yourself, people think that, oh, you're this big guy who goes out and you do all kinds of fun stuff. No, we're in a freaking room by ourselves. There's nothing brave about necessarily doing that. That's the misconception about being an announcer. When I do my videos, I'm by myself most of the time. My wife works out of the home. The kids are at school. My daughter, who's autistic, she's 21, she's in her day program. I'm there by myself. I go in the basement, write these stories, and that's what it is. So open communication. Anytime you want to talk to me, by the way, anyone who wants to email me, look at before I leave, the Rock History Music Facebook page. Please join it if you can. And just if you have any questions, you want to chat, chat to me. I get back to everyone. Last week, I'm 52. Corolla. Yeah, I think I've got that right. Can't read very well. Anyway, I got to go, and I don't know. God, how do I turn this off? I don't know. It must be a button. Anyway, thanks so much. I so appreciate it. Thanks. It means an awful lot to me. And when I go to English Bay or Lonsdale Key, some of you might know some of these locations. I might do a short little thing. I'd like to show you around, which is cool. I know it's not what this channel's about. but I love the Lower Mainland and I miss living here. Anyway, I'm going to visit my radio station tomorrow. Haven't been there in a year, and I'm on the air every night. There you go, voice tracking. Anyway, goodbye. Take care.